truth. They love giving a few hard home truths to people. They love being right. They use the truth as a sharp knife or a heavy club, and they can do real damage with it. Christians can be guilty of both. Some of us dilute the truth or keep it bottled up. Some of us love its caustic power. Neither are good. We are all guilty, I suspect, of having done one or the other at different times. I know I am, and for that, I apologize. Anger and fear usually play a part in swinging us towards one extreme or the other. Anger makes us tell the truth in a brutal way. Fear stops us telling the truth at all. But speaking the truth is important. Sometimes we do need to hedge it or moderate it a bit. If you want someone to take medicine for their own good, it's perhaps best not to make it too bitter, not to make the pill too big or sharp. But, as always, the medicine must be given and taken. Still, it's important. It's always important to be kind. That rule is never suspended. So speak the truth in love. And also, receive the truth in love, even if those truths are not given well. People do not often tell you what you want to hear, and they often don't say it in a way that you want to hear. So ask God to give you the grace to be a person who can both give and receive the truth. Give and receive the truth well. So that's prophets. Jesus is the prophet who was himself God's message to us incarnate. And all his followers are called to be the same, in our own time and place, in our own small way, with our own limitations and weaknesses. Prophet, priest, and king. We'll do king next. Jesus was and is a king. In fact, not just a king, the king. And so Christians too are kings and queens, of course. Monarchs. What does that mean? It means you and I have power. We all have power. Not unlimited power, but we have the power to make choices and to take decisions. We have the power to speak and to act. We have the power to change things, and we have to use that power wisely and well. Just as there are those who love to tell other people the truth, and those who would rather shy away from doing so, there are also people who love to exercise power, to get their hands on it, to grab it at every opportunity they get. And there are those who hate it, who would rather not, who want other people to take decisions for them. But powerful and empowered is what we are. That is how God has made us to be, and that is who God has made us to be, his children in his image. Again, and always, our role model and exemplar is Jesus Christ. Tony Benn once said that all powerful people should be asked the following 5 questions. What power do you have? Where did you get it? In whose interests do you exercise it? To whom are you accountable? How can we get rid of you? Now, ask those 5 questions of Jesus. People at the time did. Pontius Pilate did. The Pharisees did. Herod did. They particularly wanted to know, where did you get this power? And of course, in the end, they wanted to know, how can we get rid of you? They answered those questions themselves, and they acted accordingly. You too have power. You are a king or a queen. Use your power well, and remember that others also have power. Some of them have more power than you in certain areas or at certain times. Others will have less. Jesus once met a Roman soldier who understood the practice and principle of chain of command. The soldier said to Jesus, I've got senior officers above me, and I've got junior ranks below me, and below even them I have servants. And he recognized that Jesus was the boss, the commander-in-chief, the King of Kings. He said to Jesus, "You can make anything happen just by ordering it." So know your place. Not too big, not too small. Take your place and play your part. Always stop and check. In whose interests am I acting? Care for those whom you have power over. They are your responsibility. And respect those who have power over you. Ask yourself where you got your power from, and ask yourself to whom you are accountable. The answer to both, ultimately, is God. Remember that. It will keep you humble. We've done prophets and kings. Third and finally, priests. The first two, prophet and king, have been about different kinds of power. The power of truth in the case of the prophet, and the power of action in the case of the king. But the third kind, the third office of Christ, the priestly office, is about a kind of powerlessness. A priest is a mediator. He or she brings God to the people and brings the people to God. That's why Jesus is the supreme priest, because he holds, as it were, dual nationality. Jesus is, in a sense, bilingual. He alone can reconcile us to God. There are plenty, of course, of priests and ministers, but none of them is really necessary. Jesus is the only priest you need, the only one who can truly and perfectly bring God to us and bring us to God. In pagan worship, a priest offers a sacrifice to appease or propitiate a god. Priest, sacrifice, God. In Christian worship, the priest, sacrifice, and God are all one and the same: Jesus Christ himself. And we too are called to be priests, to bring God to people and to bring people to God in all sorts of ways, big and small. And being a priest usually involves a sacrifice, not a third party, not a lamb or a cow, not wine or incense or grain, but the sacrifice of laying down one's own life, one's own agenda and ego, so that God can shine through you unhindered like light through clear glass. For that, we need to be clean and pure. As well as bringing God to others, we bring others to God as one who carries and bears their weight. That too is a sacrifice. How do we best act as priests? By praying, by being prayerful. And God helps us to pray. Remember, life is a gift, not a test. And God is on our side, so be of good cheer. Here ends our reflection on the threefold offices of prophet, priest, and king. Jesus Christ is the ultimate, perfect, universal, and divine example of prophet, priest, and king. And we too are called to be like him, to perform the functions of prophet, priest, and king. But like him, we should always and only act out those roles in love. In love. First of all, God's love for us. Second, our love for him. Third, our love for each other. For we are all God's beloved children. Amen. That was the first part, a reading and reflection. The second of three parts is the prayers, and the prayers is also itself in three parts. Sorry, thank you, and please. First of all, sorry. Take some time to examine your conscience and offer your sins to God. And after a minute or so, I will read out the words of the absolution, which is the assurance of God's complete pardon and forgiveness.